Hey everyone, it's Kerry Jeffrey from Emotional Autoimmunity here, doing my live time a little bit early this week because my Friday is when I normally do it, and this Friday is Good Friday at the start of Easter, and so I've decided that I'm going to take the day off and not do any work at all and enjoy a nice 3-day weekend, which I'm very much looking forward to. So we are still working our way through my ebook, moving through the grief of chronic illness. And now this is absolutely free to anybody who wants a copy. All you need to do is head over to my website and use one of the many methods there of signing up to my VIP email list. Now there's a couple of benefits to this. And so the people on my VIP email list always get every new piece of content that I put out, and also get sometimes some special bonuses or some special offers that I make. They're always the very first to know before it hits my socials. So that's one of the benefits that you can get from that. I send out an email weekly, and you're always free to unsubscribe at any time if you no longer wish to receive the emails. And when you sign up for my VIP list, this ebook is what you're going to get as a free gift from me. You just need to be aware that when you sign up, it is a 2-part authentication service. I don't have a choice on that. That's what my email provider requires to be done in order to get on the list. So once you sign up for the list, you need to check your email inbox, check your spam. There is a confirmation email, and once you respond to that confirmation email, then you will receive the link and the welcome to my list and the link to the ebook, and you just download it from there. Now this is a great resource to share with your partner or with your family or friends, because it is going to give them an idea of the complex issues, the complex emotional issues that you are going through and that you live with once you develop chronic illness. So today we're talking about phase 3, which is fear and denial. And this is a phase that I see so many people getting stuck in all of the time. It is one of the key phases that most people will get stuck in because it is such a difficult and challenging one. So I'm going to read it out to you first from the ebook, and then I am just going to talk about it a little bit more in general. And if you are watching this live, please say hi. Just let me know that you're watching. Maybe let me know where you're watching from. And if you've got any questions, then I would be happy to answer them. So please feel free to put your questions in the comments. So here we go. Chronic illness brings with it so many unknowns. Medication may be ineffective, difficult to adjust, or to find the right dose for you, or bring with it new and frightening symptoms from side effects, or there may be little to no treatment options available for the illness you have. When the initial relief and shock from diagnosis begins to fade, you are left facing a new life, filled with uncertainty, with no clear path or direction to follow, apart from trying to get on with your life as best you can. What this basically means is that everything counts on you. The ongoing nature of chronic illness makes it very difficult to explain to your partner, family, friends, or colleagues the very real challenges and changes you are dealing with on a daily basis, particularly if your illness is an invisible one where you look healthy and the same as you did before. Fear is exhausting, stressful, and unsustainable because in the meantime, life still goes on. There are children to care for, work to be done, responsibilities that you have to manage and deal with on a daily basis, and none of that is going to go away just because you now have chronic illness. There is a lot of information about diseases and symptoms on the internet, and much of it is overwhelming and frightening. Disease support groups can offer a wealth of patient experience and knowledge, but also give you a frightening glimpse into a possible future as you read others' experiences of disability, pain, and hopelessness. Not only are you dealing with pain, fluctuating energy levels, and continuing symptoms, any possible lifestyle changes to help you improve your quality of life or decrease your symptoms has to be all managed and driven by you, which just adds to the feelings of overwhelm. Dealing with and managing your illness, finding doctors who understand, and doing the research to help you know what you are dealing with can feel like a full-time job. Denial makes everything seem easier to manage and deal with because denial is meant to be a short-term method of emotional protection when things become too much. Anything that makes you feel vulnerable or takes away your ability to feel in control of your life can trigger denial. And because many chronic illnesses progress and worsen slowly, giving you time to adapt and accept any restrictions or changes that they bring, it is easier to push through them with denial and ignore what is happening. The biggest issue with denial is the cumulative effect of pushing through and ignoring the symptoms of chronic illness can create and trigger autoimmune flares where your condition can worsen. Denial can lead to being hospitalized with a health crisis, unable to function at all. Denial of chronic illness can make you feel that you can ignore it and push it away in the short term, but in the long term, it leads to worsening health, increasing symptoms, and decreasing energy and physical resources. Developing chronic illness will also highlight any of the pre-existing issues in your life, especially in your relationships. Problems that before could be ignored can become much more difficult as you become less able to function or continue to carry the physical or emotional load that you did before. This makes it even easier to fall deeper into denial, pushing even harder to get things done and keep things the way that they are. The financial costs of testing, treatment, hospital stays, and specialist care adds additional pressure to your relationships and raises stress levels even further. Fear of the future, worsening health, and uncertainty of what is going to happen to you, your relationships, and your finances can keep you stuck in denial. Chronic illness can send many families to the brink of financial ruin, and many relationships can break under the strain of the ongoing costs and debt from the huge medical bills, particularly if you are no longer able to work full-time to help support your family. Being stuck in fear and denial stops you from acknowledging and accepting the illness and prevents you from making any of the personal and lifestyle changes necessary to help you heal and maximize your best levels of energy, health, and happiness available to you now. Fear and denial is the most common phase where people with chronic illness get stuck, sometimes for months or even years. So, if any of that related to you, just say yes in the comments so that I know that that is something that you are dealing with right now. So as I said in the ebook, there are many different things that our brains are designed to do to help get us through, really difficult times of shock and the challenges that we face. And denial is one of those functions. So basically the brain kind of shuts down, right? And it's this whole not happening process going on because it is a big thing to accept. And chronic illness is a series of ongoing griefs, right? Ongoing griefs. So some of them are big, some of them are more small, but there's still that continual process of understanding that there are some things that you're never going to get to do, or some things that you used to love that maybe you won't be able to do anymore, or at least you can't do for the foreseeable future. Opportunities that you miss out, a whole lot of other different sorts of things. And that's a really difficult thing to face, right? And we don't want to face difficult things. We don't want to face painful things. And so denial is a form of protection that our brain creates for us. And denial can also be something that we set up for ourselves in terms of the mindset that we have. So there are some particular beliefs that do tend to drive denial. One of those factors is for some people decide, well, I'm not going to let this illness define me, or I'm not going to let this illness be part of my reality. So I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to think about it, because if I think about it or talk about it or acknowledge it, then that makes it real. And if that makes it real, then maybe I won't be able to deal with it, right? Or if that makes it real, then my whole life has changed and I'm not ready to accept that yet. So there's this belief that by denying the reality of the disease, that you can somehow keep it at bay or make it not happening to you. And while this is okay in the short term, in the long term, what is going to happen as you continue to push through and you continue to ignore it and you continue to acknowledge it, and you might want to protect your partner or your children or your family from the knowledge of it, or you don't want their lives to change, you want everything to go on as normal as it used to be, then eventually what's going to happen is that's going to take a toll on you. And eventually what's going to happen is you're going to end up in more flares. And what often happens to people, and I find this with many of the clients that I work with, is that denial eventually led them to hospitalization, sometimes for extended periods of time, because not being really willing to face the reality of the illness or to start taking responsibility for the way that it's changed your life or the impacts that it's having on your body, and not being willing to address it in any way or try and work with it or try and adapt yourself to it, means that that autoimmune condition will continue to attack whichever part of the body that is it affecting, depending on the disease that you have, which means that that damage will continue to go on, which means that eventually you're going to get to a point, as I did, and that wasn't through denial, that was just I didn't realize what was happening, because chronic illness just wasn't even on my radar. So I actually thought I was going through a really bad menopause, and then I thought I was experiencing a really bad flu. So I always seemed to be able to find an explanation that would cover the symptoms that I had, that you will be unable to function at all. And which means that you know your life can't go on and you can't do anything, and you're going to reach that point where your body will just stop you, because it's just being so damaged by that autoimmune attack that it can no longer go on. It will just reach that point where no matter how determined you are, no matter how much willpower you've got, you just won't be able to force yourself anymore to do what you're doing. And the stress of doing that, and remember, stress creates inflammation, inflammation increases the autoimmune attack, and that creates more symptoms, that creates more damage, and your health continues to worsen. So denial can be a very sort of seductive thing, right? It can lead you to believe that, no, this isn't so bad. No, I can think my way through this. No, I can beat this. I can deal with it. You know, other people seem to deal with it okay. I can deal with it. It'll all be all right. I'll just keep pushing through. I'll just get it done. I'm not going to let this into my life. This isn't going to be part of my life. So it'll say all of those different sorts of things to you, but it's not reality. And you may not be willing yet, or you may not feel that you're ready yet to face that reality, that chronic illness is now part of your life and it is really happening, and it does need to be taken seriously. But if you don't face it and you stay stuck in denial, you will eventually reach a point where you won't be able to push through anymore. And that's going to be very difficult, and it's going to be very painful. And depending on where you live, it's also could possibly be incredibly expensive and put you into more debt because having to go to hospital and then not being able to work and then not being able to care for yourself and becoming disabled, whether like me it was a temporary thing, but at the time I didn't know that it was only going to be, you know, for a while, and all the work that I've done and all the changes that I've made have led to me being where I am now. But without the right mindset, none of that would have been possible, because your mindset has got to come first. Having the right mindset, being in the right emotional space is the necessary thing, because without that, you cannot take responsibility for it, you cannot accept it, you cannot start planning, you can't make changes, you can't really find a reason or motivation to try to maximize your best possible health, life, and happiness in this moment. So mindset is absolutely crucial. And denial is going to take you nowhere but down a road of pain. And while it feels better, right, it feels better and it feels safer and it feels nicer to ignore it, and it is a necessary thing. Everybody goes through some form of denial. Eventually, the only thing you can do that is really going to make a difference is to get out of that denial and face the reality of what's going on. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about all of the different phases that you go through in this process. And denial can lead to other things which are actually healthier. If you think about it as moving up an emotional ladder, so you're starting down at the very bottom and gradually you're moving up, moving up, moving up, moving up, even though it doesn't feel like some of the phases I'm going to be talking about in the future seem very positive. They actually are. They're actually more empowering, and they're eventually going to get you to where you want to be. And also why I wrote this book is I want to normalize this experience, because chronic illness is completely different from any other sort of grief model that's out there. And there are different grief models out there. There wasn't really one for chronic illness. There wasn't really one that, for me, fully captured all of the complex emotions that I was going through. And that's why I wrote this book, because I want you to understand that all of these phases are normal. There is nothing emotionally wrong with you. All of these phases are normal. So if you are feeling stuck in denial, right, if you are really feeling stuck there, or you feel like that you need to stay there, if you feel like that it's all too much to deal with, then what I want to do is just encourage you to try everything you can to get out of denial, because eventually it is going to come back and bite you really hard. You cannot continue to push your body. You cannot continue to push through. You cannot continue to rely on willpower. It is only going to take you so far. And just eventually, your poor body is not going to be able to continue to meet the demands that you're asking for it. And ultimately, when you get out of denial, it's going to enable you to move forward, because staying stuck there is going to just harm you in the end. So please do remember, you can always book your free discovery session with me. There is no obligation. We just meet up online. I do work with people all over the world. At the moment, I'm working with people in London, in Canada, in New Zealand, in Spain, and across all time zones in the United States. So it's completely online. You get to work with me in the privacy of your own home. There's no travel, no parking. And the discovery session is really all about just giving you an opportunity to meet me, which is something that most therapists do not offer. the only way you get to see them is by booking in and paying for an appointment in their office and then getting to see whether they're the right person for you. So I offer my time freely. What I ask is if you do make the appointment that you do actually commit to showing up for the appointment, because there's nothing more frustrating than getting ready to meet somebody and they don't show up. So as I said, it's just an opportunity to meet me. I'll tell you the program I recommend for you. I don't want an answer from you. I don't want a commitment from you on the spot. I'll give you all the information about the program that I believe is going to be best for you. I'll email all that information to you after our discovery session. I keep the notes for a week, and after that, it's completely up to you. If it feels like the next best step for you, then you just email me back and say, yep, I want to get started. When can we get booked in? And if it's not, then that's it. You don't have to respond. You just go on with your life. And I just think, oh, it was nice to meet that person, right? So do take advantage of that. It is a rare opportunity. Most therapists don't do this. So it's not a sales call. It is just giving you the opportunity to meet me. So I hope this has been useful for you. This video will be available over on my YouTube channel. You can watch it over there, and it will also be available in the replay on the page. And if you're on your computer, there you will see on the page there is a tab for videos, and you can find it in there as well if you miss it on the day. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.